What's shaking, everybody? My name is Thomas, and thank you so much for tuning back into another awesome episode of Evisceradio right here on YouTube, where I sit down with bands that I'm into and we talk about what's good in life, what's good in music, and everything in between. It is 100% genuine YouTube content found right here. If you like it real, off the cuff, and unscripted, and just chilling with fucking awesome artists, Evisceradio is the place. Again, thank you so much for tuning in, because this episode is going to be another sweet one for you. So, on this episode, I got something hella cool lined up as per usual. I'm going to be talking to a band from Norway, a death metal band called Nexorum. If you haven't heard of these guys, they have one album out called Death Unchained, and you should be stopping this episode right now. Go to their Bandcamp, check out the album from start to finish. It is a fucking ass kicker. Fun ass riffs, super dope songwriting, tons of attitude. There's just not really much more to say than if you like your quality death metal, these guys know what the fuck is up. And as per my last few interviews, there are some bands where there's just not a lot of information out on them, which makes these particular sit-downs super interesting and exciting for me to do, because I don't have any kind of palette or script or any kind of direction that I'm going to go down in terms of like questioning or where the conversations can go. It's literally just going to be like a chill sit down and conversing like about awesome stuff. Like I said earlier in this little intro clip, it's about what's good in life, what's good in general, and everything in between. I'm looking forward to fucking taking a peek inside this guy's brain and just seeing what makes him tick and what works with the band and how this came to be, what could be next. All kinds of good shit's going to be found right here, man. I'm sure you guys are going to enjoy it. I can't wait. I hope you guys can't wait too. So without further ado, Nexorum. Yes.
Are you hearing me and seeing me?
Yeah, I can hear and see you. You're like the first person ever who like didn't have to like go through some tech shit in order to make this meeting work out. I've had people.
Well, I work in IT and have a lot of video meetings, so
yeah,
I'm quite used to this.
Well versed in how to get things flowing.
Exactly.
Yeah, same here, man. I'm pretty tech savvy. I like to have all my little, binary dots in a row for doing this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, man, like I've been looking forward to talking to you for a long ass time. Thank you so much for. Oh yeah, I know you guys are fucking great, man. Nexorum, hard O.
Yes. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Death Unchained is really, really cool. You guys were like a blessing in terms of like the COVID discoveries that I was doing, where I just dumped all of my cash into like bringing new music in to gravitate towards something, and that album was like been on the top of the pile for it still is to this day. Like I listen to it all the fucking time. Great gym album too.
Yeah, excellent. Also, I'm really glad to hear that. It's been kind of weird with pandemic and all, when we released the album, and it felt like everything just went dead because of the pandemic, not being able to play live and stuff. So
yeah, did that album come out during it was 2020, right? The album out.
Yeah, it was actually we released it on a Friday, and the Wednesday after at least Norway had a lockdown, and we were supposed to have our first gig the weekend after. So that didn't feel good, but we of course didn't know how long this would take. Like 2 years, that's insane.
Yeah, it's really though, right? Like, I mean, that's a long time for a lot of people.
Exactly. Yeah.
We got hammered pretty good down here with all of that stuff. The Eastern Canada, which is where I'm from, like they literally closed the borders down. Interprovincial travel just wasn't happening, and our I guess our protocols for how to get in and out and go about your daily life was like the most radically changed, I think. Ontario can't speak for it too much. I came out here closer to the end of things, but they didn't fuck around in Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and that kind of stuff. But anyways, I digress. That shit is over with, and now people are out and smiling and checking out shows and stuff. I saw on your guys' Instagram, like all the pictures and shit. Like that was your first show coming out of the COVID nonsense.
Yeah, it feels insane that it had to take so many years until we got our first gig, because when we started the band, one of our main priorities was to be a live band and to make music that would be cool to play and hopefully listen to live. So we were like supposed to just make an album and then start playing live. And of course, that didn't happen. And we started working on a new album when we realized that it would take some time before the pandemic would end. So that's been our priority for like the last year or so. But finally, we're done with that, and it will hopefully be released early, like February, March, probably next year. But wow, now we got the opportunity to play. Just some details we need to work out. But yeah, we finally got to play live for the first time. And man, it felt good.
I bet
it was great. Yeah, I'm really glad we got that opportunity because it was in our hometown. So there were a lot of old friends there. The venue was great. It was like a mid-sized club scene, and it was more or less full. Like the crowd was up on the stage, headbanging, going nuts, and it just felt so good. I think I've never felt that good on a gig because it was like we've been waiting for so long, and 100%. We were, of course, it was kind of anxious because it was our first gig, and it was important for us to like show that we are an awesome band, or at least we feel so ourselves, and it was important for us to be able to show it, and luckily it went really good.
Oh man,
got a lot of positive feedback, so we're really glad about that.
Yeah, totally. I mean, take it from someone who knows, like, you guys are an awesome band, and everyone and everyone in that, like, all the faces in the pictures, like people in the pit and everything like that, they look like they're having a grand old time. I didn't know that was like your guys' first like ever show ever. Like that was the first show. Oh, fuck. Yeah,
but it was, just to be clear, it was our first show together. We have, of course, played in a lot of other bands also during and after the pandemic, so we weren't like that rusty. But it was our first gig as a band together, right? Nexorum's first gig.
Yeah, cool.
So yeah.
Cool. Did you guys have any issues like playing together like during like the lockdown stuff? Like some bands did like I guess video jamming or whatever, however you would line that up. Like you guys said you were working on material during the whole pandemic lockdown thing, but like were you guys able to like play together? Like how did it kind of go down?
Yeah. Luckily that wasn't a problem. We were able to rehearse and work on music together. We live in the same city, and
oh, that's cool.
The lockdown wasn't at the worst. I guess it was kind of a gray area of if we could meet, but we did anyway. We figured it would be okay. We have a big rehearsal space and just try to use what's it called, like sanitizer or antibacterial stuff on our hands. Just stay away from each other, and so it worked out fine. And probably one of the things that made the pandemic more bearable, to be able to work together with my bandmates. And
oh, absolutely, man. I'm glad you had like a sense of like strength to pull from, especially when it comes to people who you share like musical compatibilities with, you know what I mean? Definitely relevant. That definitely comes through in that album for sure. Not a lot of people had like a lot of bands survived that whole thing too, you know what I mean? Like they had some people who just looked at their lives individually and just sort of changed like careers and just became like a different version coming out. I'm really happy that like yourself and your band and like all the other bands that I'm like having the pleasure of talking to kind of like pulled together and fucking, weather the storm, as it were, and like are still doing some shit. A number of bands I've been talking to like just did their first shows after the pandemic very recently, and they're all saying the same thing too. The weight that people have had as like fans or like just music lovers or people who enjoy live entertainment on a whole, like finally are able to like freely go to these concerts without any kind of restrictions or limitations as to like body count or whatever, and enjoy like spectacles. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Have you been like, I mean, you obviously belong on like a stage performer and so on and so forth, but like, do you find time to like go check out shit on your own?
Yeah, but not a lot after the pandemic. I'm not sure why. I have been in the past, like seeing a lot of band, and especially just trying to support the local scene, or if bigger bands come, sometimes it's like not my favorite band, but I show up just to hopefully get more bands.
Sure.
It's not been that much after the pandemic, but it's getting there. So yeah, I think all of us usually try to check out bands when they're playing.
Yeah. What city are you guys in?
Trondheim. It's like in the middle of Norway.
Is it? Yeah. Big population.
Oh shit! I should probably know this. I think it's like 40,000, or maybe it's a couple of hundred. This is kind of embarrassing. I'm not sure.
Oh, whatever, man. I don't know what the population in Ontario is, and I just got here. I have no idea.
Yeah, I think maybe because I'm actually from a place further north. I think the population there is like 40,000, and I think it's a couple of 100,000 in Trondheim.
Oh, cool. So you're not native to there? No way.
No, actually, 3 of the members in Nexorum are from the same place, like a little village outside of a place called Harstad up north in Norway.
Cool.
So we've known each other our whole lives, but we haven't played together since I think when I was like 16. We had a band just for a little while, and then they moved, and yeah, so we just hooked up again in like I think actually 2017 we started talking about starting a new band. So
fuck yeah, man, that's cool as shit. I come from like a small little village myself. I can totally relate. I think the population was like maybe 2,000. Old fishing town. You know, the families have like they either hunt or fish, and then their like kids take it over, and that's sort of how those communities still kind of go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of people leaving situations like that. They're sort of like bred to stay home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where, like not a lot of people venture to like look for more things, but there's beauty and simplicity too. So I'm not knocking people who. You know,
yeah, of course. Yeah, I totally agree. But like for me, you know, wanting to play in bands, there was not a lot of it in our hometown. It was the music community was pretty good, but you know, when there are so little people there, it's very limiting. Both. To be able to play and to see other bands, so I just had to get to a bigger city, and I feel like Trondheim is like a perfect in between thing. Like Oslo, the capital of Norway, is it's kind of it's too big, and it's not a really good city. It's a lot of the homeless people and criminality and stuff like that. So.
Oh shit! I didn't know. That sucks.
Yeah, well, it's probably not that bad compared to. Of course, other cities around the world, but compared to other cities in Norway, it's pretty bad.
Yeah. I'm noticing a stark contrast between leaving the capital of Nova Scotia, which is Halifax, and coming to Toronto, Ontario, and just the different types of lifestyle. The homelessness here is crazy, and I live in an area. I live in an area of town where the drugs are really bad, and there's a lot of just not nice stuff happening, and not a lot of stuff being done to like, you know, take care of that situation.
Yeah.
But I'm also in an area where the music is really good and there's a lot of culture down here too. So one of the reasons why I wound up leaving that side of the country to come out here was to like obviously pursue some more music ventures. The career thing was a no-brainer too. I needed to if I was going to make more money and have more like opportunity and stuff, I have to leave a limiting place like that. Like similar to your own, I'm sure, like you probably came to where you were for like work, or actually because of your IT stuff, did you fall into that once you got to where you are today, or?
No, actually, I guess I moved to do more band stuff, but just of course wanting to be a rock star and whatnot, but we all know how easy that is. So actually, when I moved, I just worked at a gas station for years and started really hating it. It's an okay job, but for me, eventually, I just got really sick of it and figured I need to do something else. And I took some education to be able to get a better job. And IT, I'm like you know, tech savvy, just love technology and stuff. So yeah, that wasn't my main reason for moving to Trondheim, but now, of course, there's a lot of more work opportunities here than, for example, my hometown. So
yeah, totally, yeah, for sure. I'm glad it's all working out for the better, going to, pursue what you want in life. We all need money, so you got to be able to fucking come up with the means to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And for me, it's important to have a job where I can, like, when I'm done for the day, I'm done. I can work on music and do stuff like that. And it's not a problem for me to take some time off to, like, play gigs or go on tour or whatever. So
so you got balance. Your the rock star life and the IT life are like
works out.
Yeah, that's, man. You know how hard it is to find a balance these days, dude. Like I over the last couple of months, I felt like I bit off a little bit more than I can chew. I work in the film industry, and that is demands a lot of, like, just being there. And then this whole Evisceradio thing, I'm done, like, when I'm not sleeping, and sometimes finding a time to sleep and stuff like that's a bit of an issue too. So, and also being new to this city and, like, getting my bearings straight and that kind of stuff, it's still sort of like there is a balance in there. I am kind of working on it, but it's nice to know that some people like yourself can find that shit.
Yeah, I'm really glad it's working out for me. And I think a lot of people, I guess, they have not very interesting job to be able to do band stuff on the side, but I really like my job as well. So it's I'm really glad it's worked out that way for me. But as I said, for years I worked at a gas station and really started hating it in the end. So I know how it is to be on that part as well.
Oh yeah, same here. Worst job I ever had, I was cleaning toilets on a cruise ship.
Oh man.
Yeah. Sucky.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
There were some hard times there, man. But if you want better, you got to go for it.
Yeah. Of course.
I'm extremely fortunate to like what I do. So, and I happen to be good at it too. So there's that.
Yeah, that helps.
Yeah.
But I think it's a good thing to have or to be in a job like that for a while. I mean, it keeps you grounded, I guess. And I think everyone should work at, like, a retail or something for a while, just to get a feel of how it sucks when customers are not polite and whatnot.
Ugh.
It's so annoying. So everyone should just it should be mandatory to have, like, 1 year on the other side of the counter just to get a feel of it.
Yeah, sort of like, be humbled a little bit. There's lots of people that just don't have options other than that. And sometimes people's situations just, they can't get out of stuff like that. And to be able to experience, like, a shitty job, I agree. Like, I think everyone should be just, like, taken down a peg and just experience it. Like, it can't always be fucking awesome, and if anything, it just gives you more drive to go chase what you really want. So.
Yeah, sure. But there are people, like, who enjoy that kind of job. I guess at least in Norway. So I'm not sure how the English term, but I respect the people who, like, stay in those jobs because they enjoy it, even though the pay isn't that good and all. So yeah.
Well, sometimes if there's simplicity and not much to making your ends meet, can sometimes lead more space to being able to do, like, passion projects and stuff like that too. It depends on just how you go about your shit, I suppose. You know what I mean? You can always, like, it's a balance deal. I can't speak for, like, I mean, I personally wouldn't want to be pumping gas, but, like, I'm cleaning toilets, so it's just another thing that you got to do to be able to be moving into the next thing. So
yeah.
So, man, I wanted to I think I said it before, but Death Unchained is fucking great. I did not know that you guys knew each other growing up, and now that when you had mentioned it, I was thinking about, like, the music and, like, how the gelling factor of it it's so like potent that it almost seems obvious now that, like, you guys definitely have a rapport from knowing each other from back in the day. Are you the lead songwriter?
Yeah. Or I write all the riffs and do most of the structure and stuff. And Tadja, the vocalist, writes the lyrics and does all the vocal arrangements. So
no way. So okay, cool. That's good to know, because that leads me to another question. Some of the I'm a musician myself, or at least I call myself one, and I record amateurly, I guess, in this space. I have a particular way of going about the way that I write my music, and I like, it's sort of like an ever-changing process to find out which is more, I guess, efficient or allows for more creativity and blah blah blah. I'm kind of interested to know that, like, since the riffs that I've heard coming from you so far have been really really good, how do you I guess I'll have to give you an example in order to get this question across. But one person, Frank from Cryptosis, said turned me on to, like, he would come up with just riffs. He wouldn't try and build songs, but like he would have like a digital bank of riffs, and he would just record it, store it away, move on to the next thing, and then they would pile up, and then they would wind up revisiting it at some point, and they would find that, like, riff from this period sort of fits what I did last week, and then they would start to construct sort of in that sense. And it's been working for me, but I'm always interested to know, like, how other people kind of go about, like, their like crafting their songs, as it were. So I was just hoping I could pick your brain a little bit, like how do you go about that kind of thing?
Yeah, sure. Well, I rarely do it the way you describe now. Sometimes I write a riff and just put it away, but it usually just stays away. But the way I do it, I just try to make a riff. I don't know where it comes from. Sometimes I just play, and then it's, oh, that's a cool riff. And then I just have to work out of that riff. If it's like it's an intro, then I just move on to the next riff, try to make a verse or something like that, and then just move on. And I also like program drums and sometimes record the bass just to get like a full feel of the song. Mm-hmm. So I have like a complete song without vocals, of course. But for me, it's like I need to finish a song before I move on to a new song. So I just do a whole song and rarely just take a riff from somewhere, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it totally does. Yeah. A pretty handy approach from what I can tell, like spending your concentration on one particular song, and then that is done, and you move to the next. But
it can be really frustrating sometimes.
I bet it is.
Yeah, you know, when you have like 70-80% of the song done, and then you're like, okay, what the fuck am I doing now? I can't come up with anything, and then it can take months before I can move on. So for me, it takes a long time to write enough songs for an entire album. So yeah, it's like, but I guess I'm trying to learn myself how to be in the zone. I've heard a lot of people say just sit down, start playing, and sometimes you'll get there, and sometimes you won't. Mm-hmm. But for me, I'm like, if I'm sitting down and I just start playing and everything sounds like shit, then I just put the guitar away and go do something else. Yeah. But I hear a lot of people say, don't stop, just keep on going, try to make something, even though it doesn't sound very good. Just make something, and maybe things will happen, or maybe they won't. But if they happen, then, well, you have a new song or a new part or whatever.
Have you had any success with that approach?
Yeah, I haven't really tried it out much yet, because now I've been working on mixing also the new album. So it's and recording, mixing, and we started after that rehearsing for the gig we had. So like it's been, I think we spent like half a year with recording and mixing and everything. So I'm kind of eager to getting into songwriting again.
Yeah, I bet you are. It's mixing is such a fucking awesome element to like a skill set to have going in. Do you have an audio engineering background, or are you sort of picking it up as you go?
Not at all. When I make songs, I have pretty decent pre-productions, which I used to like send to the other guys in the band, and what Tadje uses to do his vocal arrangements and figure stuff out. And before Death Unchained, they said you should just mix it, because the pre-productions already sound like a good mix. And I was like, oh man, I'm not sure. And I was like, okay, I can try. I'm not sure how good it will be. Maybe we're wasting our time, but I guess it's worth a shot, because
exactly.
It gets really expensive if you're going to get someone is like really good. But I was really satisfied with the result. But it's a lot of trial and error. The same with the new album, because I haven't mixed anything since Death Unchained. So, but I'm thinking now that maybe for our third album, maybe it's time for someone else to do the job. But yeah, so I'm just learning by doing.
That's cool, man. That's definitely the way to go about things. Same sort of deal. I did wind up going to school myself for it, but it isn't a venture that really stuck. I just sort of do my own stuff. I don't take in projects, but I do love the tactile fingers on the faders and finding out like what sounds good when you're like side chaining compression and that kind of stuff. And just like a tinkerer, you know what I mean? Some people like to carve and some people like to fucking, work on cars and shit. I like the faders and stuff. I'm all like, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm always looking for...
It's just really interesting with that thing, because I'm like, my concentration is not very good usually. So I'm thinking maybe I have like, what's it called, ADHD.
Oh yeah, no way.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure, but maybe or maybe not, because as I said, my concentration is really bad. But when I'm working on stuff like mix, I can sit for hours and just being really in the zone. And there's not much else. It also happens with like IT stuff, but especially with mixing, it's just and I can do like when I'm making pre-production, I can sit and like program drums for hours, even though we're not going to use them for anything else but pre-production. I just want it to sound good for our own sake.
Yeah, no, totally. The ADHD, man, it sounds like it's becoming more and more common amongst people who go and get like proper diagnoses for it. A very close friend of mine is currently undergoing like tests and stuff like that to get his diagnosis. He's talking to like therapists that are well versed in that particular kind of. I wouldn't even say it's like an ailment. It's just like some people's brains are quicker than others. You know what I mean? The boss that I'm working for right now, like he's racked with it. He listens to podcasts at double the speed. Like you go and sit in his truck when you're going to the film site or whatever, and and he's just downloading. Like,
wow.
yeah. Like some people.
Yeah, but I can understand it.
Yeah. I bet. I mean, have you like do you? I mean, this is a kind of a sidebar question. I didn't think we talked about this, but like, has it been, do you call it an issue? Is it a problem? Or like, you obviously are going about your life being able to like work well with it or have it work to your advantage? Like, are you diagnosed?
No. That's the thing. I also have a friend who were going through the same thing recently and started talking about all the questions he had and his like experience with it. And I was like, this seems oddly familiar, all the things. But I figured it's if I have it, I'm not like what's it called, like the worst kind of it, because it's like on a scale, I think. So you can.
It's a spectrum for sure.
Yeah, a spectrum. Yeah, of course. And I don't think I'm. I'm living well with it if I have it. So I'm just like, okay, I think I'll probably just leave it alone and not figure it out. So
yeah, it doesn't sound like it's an affliction of any kind.
Yeah, I heard someone say if it's not a problem, then it's not a problem. It can of course be a problem when people are like talking to me and I just fade out, or if I'm sometimes at work I'm trying to get something, or if I'm like on a course or something, and I just what have they talked about for the last 15 minutes? I don't know. I was thinking about playing guitar.
Yeah,
or something.
you just sort of just go out the fucking window. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, but it's not a big issue for me. So, yeah.
No, cool, man. Cool. Mine is I'm sure I'm on the spectrum as well. But it's pretty situational. Like, if I'm talking to someone and I'm not into the conversation, I will wind up going somewhere else.
It might be just normal. I'm not sure.
I have no idea. I'm not anyone else's brain.
Exactly.
I just have one brain and I'm dealing with that. But like other small stuff, like someone will introduce themselves to me and tell me their name, and as soon as the first letter comes out of that name, I'm fucking blank.
Yeah,
like stuff like that. And it's not even like it's not that I don't care or anything like that. It's just, I don't know. It's just weird. Just weird shit. Brains are fucking, biology is strange, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But I have the same, I also have like this a bad habit of like checking the phone all the time. And actually I realized the other day that like on the top of my shoe, they usually get like a hole on the same place. And it's because I'm always like drumming with my toe.
Oh, get the
You
fuck
understand?
out.
Yeah. And the other day I was like, I just watching my shoe while doing it. And I was like, oh, so that's why.
That's some ADHD shit, man.
yeah. I guess so.
That's fucking funny. My biggest problem, I guess, in that kind of thing, like not a tick or a twitch or anything like that, but I think in terms of, you were talking about the phone and how like the phone is on, like honestly, like if it's not in my pocket, it's in my hand and it's nowhere else. The biggest issue I think I've had with like retreating to that kind of thing, out of just being idle, I think, is YouTube, which has been like I guess a blessing and a curse. Like I've wasted probably like a full calendar year straight of just like watching nonsense on YouTube. And just recently, the internet's gone down in my place, and due to like corroded wires or something like that, and they're going to knock this building down. So there's going to be like, I don't have internet. I'm hotspotting this. I'm hotspotting this interview from my phone, and and here's hoping it doesn't drop. But I just don't watch, because my data is limited and it's sort of like a hotspotting thing. I just don't go to YouTube anymore. And it's been like that for 3 weeks. I haven't watched any YouTube videos. I haven't done anything like that. And I'm noticing a difference in terms of my focus and my concentration. I'm not, I just don't blank out and watch like, the same fucking videos a million times over like I used to do. An element of distraction has been removed from my life. And it's really helping, again, like with focus and being present, which is a big deal for me. I typically like to remain present and be aware of my surroundings, as it were. Of course, and I'm kind of like, what, if there was ever an opportunity to get that stuff again, at least at this point, I think I just might not get the fucking internet again. It's kind of freeing. Like I'm not on Instagram doing my thing. I'm not on Facebook. Like I'm able to go about my life accessing things digitally as a necessity and not as what's the word, like a frivolous, just jumping in, wasting time kind of thing. So
yeah, I've been thinking about it too, just doing like a detox or just getting off social media. And I can understand why it's a problem for many people, and it's probably messing with our brains,
Oh, for sure.
All the time, just trying to get some what's it called in English, like the things that trigger positive emotions. That comes from
dopamine.
brain. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, dopamine. Yeah. That stuff, it fucking rots your brain, man. Like it creates zombies for sure. I was one, dude. Like I would like not leave my place for weeks when work was down, you know what I mean? Like, and there's like, I go through periods of like no work. I'm a contract worker. So sometimes there's a slow season. And like, I just like, it'll be on and I'll be looking through the TV, not even at it. I'm just in some sort of whacked out world of like not paying attention to shit and just sort of existing. And that's not cool, man. And I'm like I'm halfway through my life. I know how I operate. I know what my strengths and my weaknesses are. And I just think that's an irrelevant piece of technology or whatever you want to call it, that it can be limited and used to my advantage and is no longer there right when I want to go to that. If you're thinking about a detox, I highly recommend it. My personal escape route is that I'm lucky enough that when the timing is right, I can jump on a plane and head back over to Nova Scotia, to an island where I'm from called Cape Breton. I have property there, riverfront. There's a river that goes through that, and a big fucking rock sits right in the middle of the swimming hole from back in the day, and I can go there and reset, or I call it grounding, but or a lot of people call it grounding, and I like the term. But like, if I need to fucking take a step back and just rebalance my shit out, I would wind up doing that. Do you have a similar instance? Are you lucky enough to have a similar thing? Like, do you go back home often? Do you have family there? Like, do you have what's your means of refiguring who you were?
Yeah, well, I don't think I have that, but I visit my family like a couple of times a year.
Just as good.
Yeah. But then it's mostly like family stuff and talking to my parents and my brother's family and stuff. So yeah, it of course gets my mind into another, or I get into another mindset being there. But yeah, it sounds nice to have a place like you described. Sort of like I think it was last year. We were 5, 6 friends who went to a similar place. It was like an island where one of the guys grew up in like the west of Norway, and it was really similar there because it was only like a small ferry going back and forth a couple of times a day.
Yeah.
So being there, I just felt really relaxed because it felt like nobody could get a hold of me, and if they could, I couldn't do anything. It's like I'm stuck here. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So that felt good.
Good, man. Good. Family. I'm jealous of that. Canada's huge, and I don't have family anymore on that side of the island or country. I've got one brother. He's got a big family on the west side in British Columbia, and I go out there like maybe once a year. And that kind of helps too, but I don't have any kind of I guess like pull to go to that side. Like I'm from bumpkin country, Nova Scotia. I prefer to go down that kind of way. Parents are gone, and everyone else is like in Europe. My dad's side is English. My dad was English, and so like the family is out there. And every once in a while, I'm lucky enough to go down that way. I think reconnecting with blood is in the same vein as what I was talking about going to a certain place of the world. It all has something to do with who you are, right? It's similar energies, you know what I mean? Biology and geography, like you can marry the two, you know what I mean? They can have the same results. So it's I don't know really where I'm going with this, but it's nice to fucking know that, like, you know, someone such as yourself can go to that, or like I have a place too, like, and I would hope that everyone that I talk to, whether it's on this channel or like new friends that I meet, like have some sort of similar sort of pullback, you know what I mean? Get away from the technology, get away from the mundane work, get away from whatever it is that is your day to day, and just fucking go breathe somewhere.
Yeah. And of course, the biggest escape of all for me is playing music. If it is like on rehearsals or doing it live, then I just get in a complete different mindset and just feel the music. I can have the shittiest day and come to rehearsal and we start playing. It just goes away. So that's the biggest and greatest escape for me.
Cool, man. Yeah, I'm also very jealous. I am a guitar player. I do not play like death metal or black metal or heavy metal of any kind. I don't want to play it. I want to listen to it. I'm an acoustic player. I like to play. I like to play the pretty things, and that is sort of my escape too. You know what I mean? It's something that I can go into. My record collection is pretty big. I will dive into that as well. I gravitate towards musicians, and they have to say the same thing too, man. It's about the music. It is the ultimate escape.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. You had talked about a new album coming out. I would like to briefly touch on that. If there's anything you can talk about it. Is this an area that I can't go down, or? Yeah,
no, it's totally fine.
Okay, great. I guess maybe in relation to your stance on mixing it, do you have a particular sound in mind in terms of the sonic scape of it all? Are you just sort of going and taking your raw bed tracks and just seeing what sounds will come out of it? Or are you steering things in a certain direction this time around?
Well, the new album is a bit more black metal. I'm not saying we are playing black metal, but it's more black metal than Death Unchained. So I guess the sound is a bit more in the black metal realm, maybe, but not like completely Dark Throne or whatever. But I think that was the only thing I had in mind. Other than that, I just tried to make the tracks sound as good as possible, and checked in on some other albums just to compare it to see if I'm like way off or not. So
to get some reference tracks going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, everyone that I've asked that question always says the same thing too. I sometimes wonder, like, do you steer, like, if someone would steer the songwriting towards a specific mix in mind or something like that. But like, the more I ask the question, sometimes I'm wondering if like it's just a silly thing to even think, because like, you have the songs and you want them to sound as good as possible. Why would you write music based off of a mix in mind? Like, how could you do that? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, totally. Yeah, I understand. Because the riffs on Death Unchained was kind of easier to get sounding good than on the new album, because they are more like open death metal-y kind of riffs. And I know they were just easier to get sounding good. So I can understand that maybe some people are trying to like write songs.
Are they though?
No, maybe not. But I could understand. I understand what you're thinking, because some riffs are just easier to mix.
Yeah, no, totally. Are you finding? Do you think you'd find that sort of? Do you think you would sort of find that being the case with the new album? Like you said, it's black metal-y, and I'm going on an assumption that you got some more tremolo stuff in there as opposed to like your standard death metal riffery.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's more. There are also some melodies and some, I don't know, headbanging riffs, of course. So it's still some groove there, and but I don't know. It sounds a bit more evil, I think. And Thaddeus' vocal is a bit more high pitched than the like low growls. So yeah.
Cool. I can kind of hear definitely hear like a more black metal-y Nexorum record. That's we're really satisfied with how it sounds, and Tadia did a great job on that. I think his voice is very suited for both death metal and more high pitched stuff. So yeah. Yeah, no, I can't wait to hear it. I'm a glutton for punishment when it comes to new releases. Like if you, for example, were to drop a single before the new album release, I wouldn't listen to it. Like, I don't want to listen to it.
You want to listen to the whole album?
Yeah, fuck. I'll order it straight from you guys or your label or whatever, and then I would wait for that fucking thing to come over here, and then I would make space for that kind of shit.
Cool.
Typically too. On that note, I have a radio show on Sundays. I'm going to be live in a couple of hours, and I will test run new music on the show, on that platform, to see if I'm going to go ahead and purchase the stuff. And if there's an anticipated album that's coming my way, like there's been a few over the summer, like aside from like one or two embeds, just to make sure I'm not buying garbage. I would have listened to those, but that would have been it. It would have been a one-off kind of thing. And by the time the album gets here, I don't really remember what it sounds like. And then it would go on the show, and I would introduce it as such. So like myself, so it's like just like a little space that this event can live in. You know what I mean? And going live and doing that, there's a chat room and like all kinds of shit, and like they're all like, "Oh, here comes the new," you know what I mean? It's kind of fucking dope. So yeah. I think I'm gonna wind up doing that for you guys for sure soon. Whatever the date is, I'll pre-order or whatever the case may be, and wait for them good shits to come down this way.
Sounds good. I'll let you know soon if we have some details around it. We are talking with a label now and just figuring out the details. But yeah, as I said, probably February, March. Around there, the release date will it will be around there.
Free man. Now you're gonna tour it.
No, it's kind of hard because we want, if we're going on a tour, we want to it have to make sense financially. We are like grown-ups, and some of us have families, kids and stuff, and we don't want to be that band who just pays for the whole tour. And since we are like a new band and with like not a lot of followers yet, it's kind of hard going on a tour. So we'll see. We'll try to play as much as possible live next year. That is for sure. But it's tough as well with the festivals and stuff. We've been in touch with several festivals, and they're like, yeah, because of the pandemic, we have like bands lined up for the next 2 years.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so it's like, oh god damn it. So I mean, yeah, I'm not sure the only thing we can do is just release new music, hopefully gets more attention or something, and still just try to reach out to promoters and festivals and stuff to try to get some gigs. So
yeah, totally. Well, I mean, I'm going to be spreading the word about the new shit on the show today for sure. I'll do whatever I can to spread Nexorum around. I mean, fucking, you guys deserve it.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, you guys are fucking right on. I've got one more question for you, and this is just something I just saw the other day. Going back on what I said about perusing YouTube, I happened to. Well, I was just looking for shit on you guys and coming up with like questions and like maybe ways to go down in terms of conversating. And I saw a playthrough, can't remember what song it was, but you were playing a sonar guitar.
Solar, yeah.
Solar, sorry, yeah, Solar.
Yeah.
That's Ola's line, isn't it? Yeah.
Exactly.
Did you, okay, again, I have to use myself as an example, but like I kind of identify a little bit with like a type of guitar. I play a line of guitars called Breedlove, which are hand built luthier, like quality ass guitars built from the States, and I find that the way that they resonate really works well with my type of style of playing. Have you? And I guess my question to you would be did you how did you come across that particular brand of guitar? Is that something that you have a line of? Not that I'm asking if you're in about any endorsements or whatever, but like it looked very comfortable for you playing that guitar, and that's where I was kind of like, have you been a long time player? Was that the sort of like, yes, I found the piece of wood that fucking works? Like, you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've been watching Ola England for years, because he started out with demoing amplifiers. And I think I was looking for an amplifier, or just interested in how it sounds, and getting good amplifiers at the local music shop. It's kind of, they usually don't have the things I want. So I've been watching his channel for many years, and when he launched his own brand, Solar Guitars, I think because I had been looking for a long time, I wanted to check out the Evertune bridge, which he has on a lot of guitars, and passive pickups, which I haven't used before. I've always played with active pickups. So I just ordered one, and it just felt right. It just felt really good, and the Evertune bridge blew my mind. It kind of sucks because my other guitars without Evertune doesn't get as much playtime. Because
isn't that a bitch, man?
Yeah, and I know I can get like a aftermarket installation, but it's really expensive in Norway. It's like €1,000 or so.
For a bridge.
So and the installation, of course, but still, it's a lot of money. It makes more sense to just buy a new guitar.
Yeah,
I guess. But one of the guitars I really love, so I'm still like, maybe I should do it. But the Solar guitars, it just felt right. So I actually bought, I think, the first one I bought was a V, which isn't really good when you're sitting down, and like when I'm recording, I'm sitting in this chair, and I really liked it, and so I ordered another one. I think the year after or something. I think that was the one I used in the playthrough.
Cool.
Or like a Strat shape and more.
What's the deal? What's the deal with the Evertune bridges? I remember that being a thing, but I don't know anything about them.
Yeah, it's like this mechanic magic. So you just when you put on the strings, you tune it once with a, I think, is it an Allen key? Yeah, anyway, tune it once, and then it just stays in tune forever. You just have to be able to like bend and do vibratos and stuff. You need to like just keep the tension on the string at a certain level, which you do on the tuning pegs. But other than that, actually, before I had a gig with another band in October, so I didn't tune or change strings on the guitar until just before our gig now. So it was kind of, because it was just in our rehearsal place, and it was still in tune. So if you're going on tour or recording stuff, you don't have to just keep on tuning and checking that you're in tune. You can just play, and also the intonation just works really good. So
No shit.
yeah, it's just really easy to use. Just have to think about playing and not everything else.
Yeah, totally. I love guitars with like innovative gadgets and shit like that. The Breed Love that I was talking about earlier is a custom build from 2010, and they had a patent. They don't make them anymore at all, but back in 2010 they had this thing. I can't remember the name of it, but and this guitar that I have here, if you look in the sound hole towards the butt end, attached underneath the bridge is like a wooden block. And behind that wooden block is a wooden dowel. And that runs from the block to the butt end of the guitar where you would normally put a strap on. And what that winds up doing is, without that system in, most of the sound that comes from the guitar is from the face. You know what I mean? Like, it comes out with the sound hole and all the strings are vibrating from that. What this does is it sends the vibrations through the block, through the dowel, and around the bend and the binding and the back. So the thing really does resonate, and it almost hums when it's in tune, and it allows the sustain to last like you have to look at a calendar to fucking, it goes for days, and it almost levitates when it's really in tune. Just I think like you would probably get it with this, with the line of guitars that you're playing too. But like when the wood just, you hit a chord and it just, I don't know, like, how do I explain that? When it's all in tune, the guitar just resonates in a certain way. That's what this kind of thing does. And I've never heard of anything since. Like the Evertune bridge, all your other guitars are kind of like not exactly playable or up to the fucking level that these ones are. You know what I mean? And you're kind of like, oh, god damn it! Like,
yeah. It sucks when I have one of the guitars. I really it's an ESP Eclipse. I really love that guitar, but it doesn't have an Evertune bridge. But I have ordered an LTD EC, which is the same shape and the same neck and stuff, that has an Evertune bridge. But with the shortage of materials and stuff, I ordered it because it was the 2022 models. I ordered it in February. It still hasn't arrived, and it's like, I think maybe in December. I guess I'm lucky if I'm getting it this year. So. But it looks great, and I guess I hope it's worth the wait. So.
Oh, I'm sure it's going to be, man. Like, usually that shit is, you know.
Yeah,
and you'll get it, and then everything's going to be good in your world. Yeah. All right, listen, man. That's all the time I've got. I'm going to get ready for the live show thing that I'm doing here. It was awesome to talking to you. Thank you so much, dude. I really look forward to the new album. I think it's going to be fucking off the hook. I will push it as far as I can, as well as your guys' name on the show and whatever I do. I'm a big fan. Really
appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you and what you do, man. You write good fucking music, man.
Thanks, man.
All right, listen, thanks again, and I'll be talking to you.
Yeah.
All right. See ya. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. That was an awesome one. Roger seems like a really cool dude, man. Down to earth, honest, genuine, writing kick-ass music and just doing kick-ass things in life. I fucking give him super ass props, man. You do what you do. It fucking is definitely working. I can't wait for the new album. The world can't wait for the new album. We know it's gonna fucking break our nose. Really looking forward to this cool Nexorum black metal version. I think it's gonna be sick. I can't fucking wait. But yeah, you heard from him himself. It's going to be released on February at some point. Be sure to check out the Bandcamps, the Instagrams, the Facebooks. They're across all social media platforms. They will be dropping the news on any of those, I'm sure, as the information is ready to be released. I will be looking out for that stuff. That is an album I want in my collection. It can't come soon enough. I'm really looking forward to it. I really do hope that you guys are enjoying these episodes. I'm loving doing these projects. These sit-downs are extremely fulfilling. This YouTube venture is awesome. I'm going to be doing it for as long as I have a voice and a microphone. The radio thing I'm still going to do too. By the way, if you like playlists and radio listens are your jam, head over to metaldevastation.com. I have a live segment from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you want to hear me just being a dick in front of a microphone and playing good shit like Nexorum, head on over there. And while you're at it, give me a like and a thumbs up and subscribe. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Like, come find me. Show me some love. If you got any suggestions, leave them in the comments. I look at them, I respond to them, constructive criticism, whatever you guys got, man. I want to make this channel as dope as possible, and sometimes I need some outside input. So if you're feeling like dropping me a line and letting me know what's up, please do. And on that note, thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Thomas. This is Evisceradio, and I'll see you guys in the next sit down. Yes.